Okay, everybody, this is going to be totally different. We're going to focus on working harder, not smarter. Wait a minute. What? Did I say that right? Yes. I'm going to talk about what I was taught years ago on working harder, not smarter, to develop my skill in photography, to be a better photographer and a better editor. Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to working as a photographer and photo artist, but pushing ourselves out creatively to think out of the box. Okay, with that out of the way, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody who emailed me privately with some suggestions for future videos and some comments about past videos. So thank you very much for that. Also, I'd like to thank everybody that has chipped in to help support the channel. And that is with buymeacoffee.com/StephenPhotoArtist. Okay, let's get into our program, and that is working harder, not smarter. Now, it just doesn't make sense, so just bear with me on this. I'm going to introduce to you a tool in Photoshop that we will occasionally use as photographers and as photo artists. And so I'll just going to hold off on that for a little bit. And I want to talk about the importance of the statement, working harder, not smarter. Now, again, I didn't come up with this. I've been doing this for about 8 to 9 years now, but yet it was taught to me, I'd like to say 12 to maybe 13 years, but I really didn't take it serious till a little bit, later. And it's like, why didn't they do this earlier? So here's the concept. And that is working harder. And this is the type of work you would do, personal work. This is not client work, okay? I'm going to give you an example, but then I'm going to jump into Photoshop. And again, I'll show you a tool that I had to use on one of the images. But the whole purpose of this is to develop between our ears, our brain, in the way we see and shoot our photography to get better at it. And also to help increase our skill level in editing and processing an image in whatever software that you use. I know, most photographers use Photoshop. Doesn't mean everybody does. I mean, some might use Affinity Photo. I've heard of AC/DC and other things out there. PaintShop Pro by Corel is another one that some photographers will use. But again, the whole point is, well, let's take a look at this. This happened this January. Now, again, the recording of this is in the year 2024. For the ones, but January 2024, when I was visiting my grandkids, this is my granddaughter. She's a cheerleader, 12 years old, and her brother, Dylan, is on the basketball team. So when I came to visit, you know that when I travel, I've talked about this in the past, I don't bring my, full frame camera and all my high-end gear, that kind of stuff. But this is an example of, again, not client work, but personal stuff on working harder, not smarter. So this is the end result. So let's take a look at what does it mean working harder. Okay, this was the actual photo. Now, I took a bunch of photos, and we're trying to get her, a time just right to capture her legs spread out like that as she jumps into the air. And a lot of times it was off on the timing, whatever. But this is the one that she liked and I liked. But the thing that we didn't care for was the way the hair kept flying around. And so what would have been a smarter thing to do? Have her hair pinned back, which she was going to do. And I said, nope, I'm going to work harder, so let's leave that alone. So let me talk about the setup for how I shot this. Number one, see if I can find this here. I use my point and shoot camera because, again, you notice that when I go on vacation stuff, I don't want to carry my heavy gear, that kind of stuff. So with the Canon point and shoot, doesn't matter what point and shoot. The key thing is, for me at least, any kind of point and shoot I would get, even in the future, if this one breaks or, and I need to get another one or something, it has to have a hot shoe on it. Because right here, I have a trigger that's going to control an off-camera strobe. And the strobe that I used is the Godox strobe here. It's called a Pro 100. It's 100 watt. It's about the size of a pop can or a soda can, whatever you call about it. And it came with some modifiers. So I just put this dome on it to spread the light out, because what I used was a very small umbrella. This is just a shoot-through umbrella, easy to pack when I went to visit. So here's what I did. First of all, I'm shooting with a point-and-shoot camera, right? I'm not using full frame. Number two thing, well, I'm not going to keep count of this up, but this I was hand-holding. There's a little handle on the bottom here that we can see, and there's an umbrella holder. So I opened up the umbrella. I'm hand-holding this out on the side, okay, taking the photos, hand-holding the camera. If I was doing this with client work, number one, I'd have a solid background, which I do carry portable backdrops. In my home studio, I have the solid backgrounds also. But the thing is, I'd be shooting with my full frame camera on a tripod. I'm not on a tripod. I'm hand holding this, okay? Because again, working harder, not smarter. Number two, I would have this right here. That would be on a light stand. And I'd be using it the opposite way. I'd be using it with my big reflective umbrella that I've talked about before. But nope, I want to work harder, not smarter. I'm holding it. Look in the upper left-hand corner of this image. You can actually see there's part of the umbrella right there. I don't care because I'm cutting her out to do a composite. Now, you may not be doing compositing work, and that's fine. But if it's landscape, whatever, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I know most landscape people will shoot on a tripod. Well, don't shoot on a tripod. Do it handhold. Take a point-and-shoot camera or an old camera. If you don't have an old camera, take your cell phone. Make it hard. When you're framing your shot, I know landscape people scout around to get the best angle because if they shoot here, this is in the way and it's distracting from my background. So I don't like that element there. I'm going to move so that element it's not showing up. No, don't do that. Make it hard on yourself. Keep that element there that you don't like because when you go to edit it, you're going to use your skills to take that out. That's the whole purpose of it. If the image doesn't come out right or whatever, that's okay. It's forcing you to work harder and pushing yourself to see how good you are at processing and editing an image after the fact. So if you look at this image here, okay, she's jumping up and down. It's not a plain background. Couldn't I have taken that wreath off the doorway there? Yep, but nope. I'm going to push myself to see if I can, composite this with all this busyness and nonsense that is in the background that I normally wouldn't do. So again, to emphasize, I'm working harder, not smarter. And then when I got done, this is the image that I got, okay? So not bad. I mean, I see things I would do a little bit different, but again, came out okay. Let's take a look at my grandson. This is the finished. I use the same background, just modified slightly, but that's the image I came up with. But watch how I shot this now. Check this out. Okay, he only had one basketball. Now, ideally, he has two. Ideally, the shot would have been holding both basketballs with his arms extended out to take the shot. Nope. I need to work harder, not smarter. Now, again, I'm hand holding this. Same wall again. But again, that's the shot we chose. He liked the expression on that. And look at the ball there. And this is almost not quite to the top of his head. The next image I did was him taking the ball, putting it in the other hand and extending the arm out. And again, if you look at the top of the ball, because this is important, this is about eye level right here. And so now I have to really, when I extract this out, I'm doing masking and everything to put the two together before I cut them out to put them into the background. But take a look at this, which is going to lead to the tool I'm going to use in Photoshop to show you this. If you look at this, the ball here now is higher. It's above his eyes. If we go back again, you can see how it's lower here. The other image, if you take a look at the arm, it's straight out. Okay, this one is slightly bent. And I liked it. It's more of a natural being bent out like that. He liked that better. But if you look at this, ooh, that arm is bent. How's that possible? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that using a tool. And there's a pros and cons in using this tool. And so I'm going to show you the negative side of using it and then how to counteract that to make it work for you. Okay, so I had to use this tool to do this. And so that's what I'm going to show you in Photoshop. And again, I ended up with that. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's close out. And what I use to manipulate the arms on both sides a little bit. And that was a tool called Puppet Warp in Photoshop that we've had for years. But let me set this up for us here in Photoshop. I'm going to move this to the side. But we need to know how this tool works and what we can get away with. And it's like, oh, this is not working too well. So what's a workaround? So here's what we do. I want to take the trunk of this elephant and curl it up, maybe put a bend here in his leg. And to do that, I'm going to use Puppet Warp. Now, I have different layers here. Let me just show you the layers to show you how this is put together. This is just a plain white background. This one has the white background with the elephant on it. And then the one above, well, let me do this, is just the elephant cut out. Okay, so this is a different strategy using the Puppet Warp. So let's do this. If I took a photo of my grandkids, whatever, and or like my grandson, and I want to adjust that arm, well, there's a solid background in the back, but it's not plain. And so when you're using Puppet Warp and you move things around, it does destroy and disorient the pixels of your image. So an example, I'm on this layer right here. Let's just pretend, it's a photo I took of somebody, and I want to adjust this and curl this up. So if I go to Edit drop-down menu and pull up a Puppet Warp, which is about halfway down right here in our menu, under the Edit drop-down menu, and as I use this, you'll see what the cursor looks like a pin or a thumbtack that you would push into like a cork board or bulletin board type of thing. And by default, I can't remember if this is on or off. Mine is off. It's called Show Mesh up there. This will just show you the diagrams and stuff, and it's just set to density is normal versus fewer versus more. I just leave mine to normal, and I don't even like seeing that, so I just turned it off. It's just sort of disrupting my view. Okay, I'm going to click down here. And when I click once with my mouse, it puts a little spot there. It's like a push pin, okay? And if I click here, because I want the trunk to bend right there, so I put another point. Now, I click back on this point, and it puts a solid marker in it saying that's your point that is selected. And if I click down on this with my mouse and don't let go and drag to the left up, you can see that the entire image pivots on that point. And obviously I don't want that, so I'm going to undo that. So what I want to do is lock down the other areas by putting say a pin here, and I'm basically saying don't move. Okay, to tusk, let's maybe, don't move, don't move, don't move. So I'm putting in like push pins all over the place, locking this down, maybe some over here in the body and that. And so everything's locked down there. So when I come over here to grab this point, and now I click and drag as I'm moving this, you can see that it's not rotating, okay, at all. The elephant just in this spot. The problem with this, though, is as I move this up, because I want to curl it up further, it disforms that image. And if this was like a background, it would just destroying the look of that background, just pushing all these pixels around. I want to click on this point and bend his knee out. Well, look what it's doing. It's, and let me grab this point here, and I want to curl it up a little bit. So this is not working as an effect. And that's the bad thing about Puppet Warp. On minor little adjustments, you can get away with stuff. But on major things, it could be a problem or issue. So here's the workaround. And this is what I did with my grandson, because I don't want to disform the arm and other things. So let me just hide that. And what I did was I cut out, so you can see I had cut out my grandson, and then I used Puppet Warp. So I'm just using the elephant here as an example of me cutting it out so it's on a separate layer. That is the key. And then when I go over here to Edit drop-down menu again and choose Puppet Warp, and now if I click same spot again, I'll click here. I'm going to click, say, right there. I'm going to click on this just to lock that down. Over here. I'll go over here on the body. I'll go about right there. Over here. We'll go on these spots. So again, I'm just pushing these pins all over the place because I'm going to probably adjust this leg, and I don't want it to affect this over here, so I'm going to make sure all that's locked down. Now when I click here, the bottom of the trunk, and I click and drag and curl that up, you can see that the trunk now looks more normal. I'm not getting, it's just not, just breaking apart, that kind of stuff, like it happened the first time. And I locked all this down. If I click here where his knee would be at, I can push that out a little bit, come down here to the foot, click and drag that up, and there we go. And enter on the keyboard. And there's my before, after. Whoops, didn't want to do that, Stephen. Sorry about that. But there's, the before and then the after right there. Okay, so that's what I did with my grandson. I cut him out and I made the adjustment because otherwise, minor little tweak, you're going to be fine. But if you're moving things a little bit more, it just breaks everything apart. And again, the whole purpose of this, coming back to work, now again, this is like, your personal work, right? This is not client work. I would never do this, but it's an exercise, an extreme exercise on working harder, not smarter, to see if you can fix that image, enhance an image with your skills in Photoshop or whatever software that you like to use. Okay, so it's extreme. Sometimes it's just like, it didn't come out good enough. That's fine. This is not, you're not selling this. It's an exercise. Okay, so I know by showing you this, most of you photographers will not do this, and that's fine because this is not right for everybody. And I don't know where you're at, in your knowledge of photography and what you're doing. But again, if I was, a landscape photographer, which I'm not, I would definitely go out with a point and shoot or my cell phone, and I would not go on a tripod, and I would purposely not frame it really good. I want some distraction in there, so let's see if I can fix that and get rid of those distractions. I think that's really important. Okay, so with this out of the way, before we go to the end, because again, I'm going to push you to do a project, but let me show you something that when you start getting good at this, and this is, again, I've been doing this this is my 19th year as a photographer and a photo artist. Let me get rid of this for a moment. Don't need this. And I'm going to pull up another image. And I occasionally get a few of these per year. And that is, I'm doing work for another photographer. In other words, if we look at this image, and I did this years ago, and when I used to do live seminars and workshops traveling throughout the United States and other countries, I would use this as an example. But this photographer, who I got to know over the years, sent me an image. He was doing a high school senior shoot, and I don't know if it was the mother or the girl, whatever, liked this photograph. And why people choose certain photographs, I don't know. I could never, things I thought, oh, this is a nice shot there. It's better than that other one. They're gonna choose that one. Nope, they chose the other one, whatever. So anyhow, he came back to me and said, I don't know what it is, but they like that shot. And of course, the problem is this. All that busyness on the wall is totally distracting, right? And so I'm thinking, you couldn't find a different, I didn't say this, but I'm thinking, you couldn't find a different window or a different spot or angle or whatever it is. But here we are with reality of life, right? This is what happens. He didn't think they would even like this image. So I fixed this using, it's called a perspective cloning technique, which I'm not going to, that could be another topic down the road, but went from that to that. And again, I get these images constantly from other photographers that got to know me, and their skills are really low in Photoshop. Mainly they're using Lightroom as an example. And they said, hey, Steve, I did this shot of a museum. He needed some promo shots, and I don't have a smoke machine, and he was wishing that I could do something with smoke. Can you add smoke to the image? And I said, well, send me the image. And I had to find out more information. Like, does he want a lot of smoke? Does he want a full smoke or all lower smoke, from knee down or whatever? I had to find that information. And what color smoke? Does he want to colorize? Does he, it turned out he wanted something on the sort of a bluish tint side of that. So I was able to do that in the image and send it back to the photographer to use for his client. So I'm doing work once in a while for other photographers enhancing their image because of my skill level in Photoshop to be able to do that. And I try to tell this story to other photographers. This is the importance of getting good at post-processing and editing in whatever software that you use, because that'll separate you from competition, by the way. But you can eventually start doing work for other photographers that maybe don't have that skill level, and they see what you can do, and they say, hey, and by the way, it's just extra play money for me. But, I've got people that, I felt embarrassed because some things will take me an hour. Some will take me half hour. Some takes me 5-10 minutes and I'm done. What do I charge for that? Don't worry about it. Next time we meet, buy me a drink or something like that. So I've gotten so many free drinks and dinners and stuff on minor things I did where I just didn't even charge it. I just did it to them as a favor because I felt embarrassed. It only took like 5 minutes or so to do it. But something that, takes a while to do on a major thing, yeah, I'm charging them. Not a lot, but I'm charging for my time and work to get the job done. So hopefully you've learned something with the Puppet Warp tool and the option that you have in working with it. And again, if you're new to the channel, and even if you're not new, please do me a favor again, because this affects the algorithm of YouTube to push out this to people that have a similar interest. And that is, like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified when I upload a video, and I try to do this every week. Okay, my next video for next week, by the way, is going to be a quick survey. I want to get your opinion and comments on something that may be happening in the hardware industry of cameras, and somebody already started this. So I'm going to talk about that next week and just get your feeling. There's no right or wrong answer to this, but I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are about some, say, new camera. If the brand that you shoot, would you buy a camera that offered these two features? Okay, so what I'd like you to do, for the ones that have the guts to do it, and that is get out there, whatever type of photography that you like to do, enjoy doing, do it hard way. Make it hard on you, and then push yourself in editing software to see, how you can clean this up or make it better to improve it, because it's developing this between the ears and your skill level in post-processing and editing in your software if you do that. Okay, so again, literally, let's get that camera out, right? Literally think out of the box creatively. Until next time, see ya!